What's up guys, welcome to the Surfing Connoisseur. It's fancy surfer time again as we are about to head in to Brazil. So guys, as you're probably aware, we're going into the Brazil event. The waiting period kicks off in a couple of days on the 9th of May, and it does look like we've got some swell for the beginning of the window. Whether they'll opt to run in it or not, I don't know. It's not the biggest of swell, but there's certainly something, and as the week goes on, it doesn't particularly spike or anything, so I think there's a good chance we could kick off in the early stages of the event window, particularly as the women are running there too, so there's a lot of heat to fit in. If you follow the surf media, which you probably do, you may have noticed that the event this year is going to be running at Saquarema, something like that. Ituana Beach, to be precise. What was that accent? Ituana Beach, Saquarema is where the event is going to be held this year. This is going to be the second time it's run at that beach since 2002. The QS Prime event has run there more recently, so we can use that to get a bit of an idea how guys are going to surf. The event offers left and right hand waves. I did find a really good article describing it, and I've just been trying to find it again on my phone so I can tell you guys a bit more about the break. I came across two hurdles doing this. Firstly, I couldn't find it. Secondly, I found that some of the locals think the event is going to be run down the beach at a hollower wave. That said, we do need a bit of knowledge about the break to form our team. What I remember from the article I read was that it often reforms, so it will offer, I can't remember if it was a left or a right hand wave initially. I think it was offered a right hand wave initially, and when it reforms, offers a left hand wave. Someone might be able to correct me in the comments below about which way around that was. I can't find the article for the life of me right now. The goofy footers on the QS have performed well there in the Prime event, so it's worth bearing in mind for your team selection. With no further ado, here is my Surf Mag team. Kicking off again for John Florence. He's just on a tear this year. First three events of the year. As I said in my last video, let's just give him the trophy now and free surf for the rest of the year and be done with it. After that, he's a defending champion in Brazil, and his style of surfing fits the Brazilian type beach break waves really nicely. That said, looking back further in 2016, in 2015 he got to round 5, and before that in 2014 he only got to round 3. So he has a bit of a checkered history, but as I said with John at Bells, this year is a total different year. He's just another surfer completely. It's almost like he's going to go on a Kelly Slater-esque rampage and just win everything for the next 5 years. Next up, I made the difficult decision to drop Jordy Smith and pick Felipe Toledo, purely because of the beach break type waves likely to be surfed in and the smaller height. Jordy, I think, will probably still perform well there. He's got a good track record at Brazil. I believe he's won the event in the past. He was surfed really well, obviously, at Bells. But between Felipe and Jordy, I thought Felipe was slightly more likely to put in a good result. Plus, it freed up a bit of cash for me to pick some better guys lower down the rankings. I want to stress that I'm not picking Felipe because he's Brazilian. As much as you'd expect a lot of the Brazilian guys to perform well at the Brazilian Stop on Tour, not just because it's their home event, but also because you've got all the fans on the beach cheering you on and supporting you. It just not seems to work like that. The Brazilians have actually performed pretty poorly at the home event as a whole. Felipe and Adriano are two of the guys who have booked that trend. Felipe is a past event winner, and I just think his style of surfing, like John John's, will really suit the event. With the extra cash that Felipe gave me, I've gone for the risky option of Matty Wilkinson. Risky in my eyes because he's still quite expensive, although like I said, Saquarema is suited to goofy foot surfers, has such a strong backhand. If it does run in the Ituana Beach area, he's in with a great chance of performing well. Bit of a mixed history in general in Brazil, with a couple of round 2 exits and a semi-final in the last 3 years. But last year, if you remember, was a buzzer beater, taken out by, I think it was a local Brazilian wildcard, and he didn't exactly surf badly that heat. He was very slightly outsurfed and arguably unlucky. It's also worth bearing in mind that Mats took out the QS event at Saquarema in 2012. Next up, I'm sticking with Adriano de Souza. As I said previously, he's one of the few Brazilians to buck the trend there of performing poorly. I also think he's quite cheap for how consistent he is. I don't necessarily think he's going to win every event on the tour, but he normally gets for a few rounds and gets you a bit for your money. I'm carrying him over from previous events as well, so I've got him at quite a good deal, and I may drop him as we go into Fiji and places like that, but I'm certainly keeping him for now. Looking back at previous results, he finished in the semi-final last year. He got to round 5 in 2014, won the event in 2011, and was runner-up to Jordy Smith in 2013. Next one down, we go Mick Fanning. Still super cheap, especially if, like me, you've got him at a discounted rate. Granted, he's not the same Mick Fanning we've seen in previous years, and also worth bearing in mind is that Mick doesn't have the best track record at Rio. I'm holding my breath that the new event is going to suit him, and to me it's kind of strange because Mick always performs quite well in the other beach break type events as we go later into events of the year. So I don't know why he doesn't perform well in Rio. He just doesn't have the best track record there. Bearing in mind he didn't actually compete in 2016. The last 3 years he hasn't made it past round 3 though. On the other hand, thinking long term, I've got him at a good price. If I dropped him, he puts in a good performance. He might be another £1,500, £2,000 maybe more than what I've got him at now. To me, it's not worth the risk. I'd rather take the hit on one event but keep making my team cheap. Next up is another bit of a risky one. I'm going Ezekiel Lau. I don't necessarily think Rio is the type of wave that suits him down to a T. He says himself he likes heavy waves. However, he grew up on the south shore of Oahu, which I'm not saying the waves are soft, but that coast of Hawaii certainly gets small air surf, more open to turns and airs and things like that. So although Zeke loves the heavy waves, I think he's perfectly capable of performing well in smaller stuff too. And I personally have him at $3,000, which puts him heads and shoulders above everybody else at that price bracket for me. That said, do be aware that his previous record at Sakuyama isn't great. In the Prime event in 2015, he went out in round 1, coming last in the 4-man heat. Next up I think is a great little pick, Wiggly Dontas. Carrying him over from Bells Beach personally, so I have him at a little discount too. But even if you don't, I think he's a good selection. He's not made it past round 3 in the last couple of years, having not competed in 2014. However, the event's moved to Sakuyama. The event has moved, remember. So when you're looking at the previous results, it's not that he's not surfed well at this break before, it's that he's not surfed well at a different break in Brazil before. So there is a difference there. Wiggly's a really strong goofy foot backhand surfer, which as I've said already, really seems to suit itself well to the wave the event is going to be held at. You want proof of that? Wiggly won the event in 2014 when it was a prime event. I think Wiggly is my sort of star pick that people might overlook unless you do your research. You can have that one for free. Finally, rounding off my team, I'm sticking with Nat Young at $1,500. He's an absolute steal. Another strong backhand surfer, which as I say is something that's going to suit this event well. In Brazil in general, he exited in round 3 in the last couple of years, but in 2014 he did make it all the way to the quarters, and we need to again bear in mind that the break is different and blah blah blah. I'm just repeating what I keep saying. That rounds off my Surf Mag team. Let's jump into quickly what my World Surf League team is. It's largely the same. Going John and Philippe in Tier A. Not trying anything silly. They are by far, in my eyes, the people I think are going to do well. There's going to be some other guys in that top tier who do well too, so you could maybe get some sneaky little results in there that help you beat people, but their style's just really going to suit Brazil, I think. Tier B, the only change from my Surfer Mag teams is I am sliding Gabriel Medina in there. I actually think this is a bit of a risky pick, but as I said at Bells, I've made too many options where I've tried to be clever and do things different to what other people are doing. I think Gabriel's probably going to be highly selected, but he doesn't have the best track record in Brazil, and he's not having the best 2017 season. Gabriel's only good result in Brazil goes back to 2014 where he made it to the quarters. However, I keep talking about the goofy footers at Sakuyama performing well, and with that move and Gabriel being quite a strong surfer on his backhand, I do think he could book that trend he's set for himself over the last few years of poor results in Brazil. Finally, I'm slipping Joanne Deroux into my bottom tier. We have no CT history for Joanne at Brazil. Joanne did compete at the Prime event there in 2014 where he made it to round 4. Also worth noting, I've not put it in my notes, but I seem to recollect that it was quite a small difference that he went out to. And I'm just really relying on that powerful backhand in Sakuyama doing us proud. So guys, I hope that helped, and I would love to know your thoughts, predictions, inside knowledge about the event, anything you know about the Brazil event, let me know in the comments below. Whether it be your teams or stuff you know about the break, or if you've heard where it's going to run, love to know, and I'm sure the people watching this video would, so just have a wander down and see if anyone shared some tips down there, and make sure you smash the like button on their comment if they have, because they deserve that thank you. Hopefully you've appreciated this video, and if you have, whack my like button just below the video, the one like this. If you're killing a bit of time and want to see something else, you can check out another of my videos right there. If you want to see my next fancy surfer video, you can whack that circle button right there, so it will appear on your feed when it next goes live. Thanks very much for watching guys, and I'll see you soon.